It is over. It is finally, completely, undeniably, irreversibly over for Chrisean Rock, and what just leaked out of her live stream tonight may be the single most disturbing piece of footage this internet has produced in a decade. You are about to witness footage so unbelievably damning, so nakedly incriminating, so completely and totally indefensible, that within minutes of the clip surfacing, the entire timeline exploded, hashtags erupted. Prayer circles started forming under posts, and thousands of people who had spent 2 solid, brutal, exhausting years defending Chrisean Rock were, for the very first time, silent. Absolutely silent. Because there is no defending this one. There is nothing left to spin. There is no filter, no caption, no press cycle, no boyfriend, no pastor, no prayer chain, no live stream ally, and no fan base on the planet that can pretend what happened on camera tonight did not happen. And once you sit through the frames I am about to walk you through, once you see the hand, the foot, the bottle, the laugh, you will understand exactly why the phrase "somebody call somebody" is trending in 6 countries at this very moment. Why comment sections have been forced into slow mode, and why the sane, quiet majority of this internet is finally done pretending. Welcome back to the channel. If this is the first time you are landing here, my name is on the door, my opinions are on the table, my receipts are in the frame, and there are no untouchables. None. Nobody in this business is protected in here, no matter how loud their fan base is, no matter how many streams they run a week, no matter how many pastors they parade through their living room. If Chrisean Rock is the face on your phone lock screen, if you have Team Rock in your Instagram bio, if you spent last summer arguing with strangers on X about how Chrisean Rock is a great mother, if you have ever typed the words, "Leave her alone, she's healing," underneath a Chrisean Rock post, "I love you, I mean it, I want the best for you, but this is your exit ramp," I promise the door is right there. I promise nobody is going to chase you down for using it. I promise your feed will feel better after you leave. But if you are staying, if you are the kind of viewer who came here to see the receipts, to see the freeze frames, to see the pattern laid out chapter and verse, then buckle in, because we are about to walk, frame by frame, second by second, through the most stomach-turning Chrisean Rock and Junior update the internet has produced yet, and by the time we hit the last clip together, you're going to be as furious, as heartbroken, and as unwilling to look away as I am right now. Now let me set the table before I roll the tape. Chrisean Rock, the reality star, the rapper, the live streamer, the boxer, the ex of Blueface, the mother of Chrisean Rock Jr., the woman who has built an entire content empire on the daily broadcasting of her own private life, is less than 4 weeks away from her son turning 3 years old. 3 years old. And in almost every single documented developmental category that any competent pediatrician on the planet would look at on that 3rd birthday, walking, talking, standing, feeding on solids, gross motor coordination, fine motor coordination, social response, receptive language, expressive language, this child is functioning at the approximate level of an infant. Not a toddler. An infant. And I am not saying that as an insult. I am not saying that as shade. I am not saying that as a Twitter dogpile. I am saying that as an observation grounded in the footage that Chrisean Rock herself has streamed, uploaded, cross-posted, cropped for TikTok, and preserved for the entire internet to watch in real time. That is footage. That is Chrisean Rock's own footage. That is Chrisean Rock's own product. And that is the reason we are having this conversation tonight. And tonight, Chrisean Rock crossed a line she cannot uncross. Because tonight, Chrisean Rock decided the internet needed to see Junior sick, distressed, disoriented, covered in his own diarrhea, and Chrisean Rock decided that the appropriate emotional response for a mother in that specific moment was laughter. Laughter. Watch the clip yourself if you don't believe me. She is giggling. She is calling him my baby in that syrupy, sing-song voice she uses when she wants the timeline to fawn over her. She is angling the camera down at his belly like she is showing off a manicure. And her nearly 3-year-old son is falling apart in real time while she narrates the moment like a stand-up bit. If your stomach is turning right now, good. Mine is turning too. That is the correct human response. That is the response a caring adult has when they witness a small child in visible distress. And the fact that Chrisean Rock's response is the exact opposite of that response is the entire reason this video exists tonight, and the entire reason my inbox has been on fire for the last 24 hours. Let's roll the tape. Clip 1. The hairline scene. Watch this frame carefully, because I do not want you to miss a single micro-movement. Chrisean Rock is trying, and I am using the word trying extremely loosely here. Chrisean Rock is trying to lay Junior's edges. She has him pinned in her lap. And I want you to look at the hand. Not the hair. The hand. Because Chrisean Rock is not holding this child, Chrisean Rock is bracing this child, and there is a real, meaningful, physical difference between the two grips. Look at the pressure. Look at the fingertips. Look at the way her nails are pressing into the soft tissue at the corner of his jaw. That is not a mother's grip. That is a restraint. That is the grip of a person who has decided a live stream aesthetic outranks a child's comfort. And Junior, a child who cannot verbally protest what is being done to him, a child who cannot say the words, "Please stop," a child who has been documented on this channel and on every other Chrisean Rock commentary channel as fully nonverbal. Junior is doing the only thing his body knows how to do in that moment. He is crying. He is squirming. He is trying to pull his little head away. And what does Chrisean Rock do? She laughs, she leans in, and she tells him he will look better when his hairline is straight. You will look better when your hairline is straight. Read that sentence back to yourself. Read it twice. That is what Chrisean Rock said on a live stream on the record to a nearly 3-year-old boy she was physically restraining moments before he began wailing. This is the woman a whole faction of the internet is still telling us is doing her best. This is her best. This is her documented best. This is the version of Chrisean Rock that she voluntarily chose to broadcast to the world. Because Chrisean Rock's best is a nearly 3-year-old crying while she prioritizes his edges over his comfort, over his development, over his medical care, and over every single actual need this child has ever had in his entire short life. And keep in mind, this is minute 1 of the stream. This is not hour 4 of a difficult night. This is not a sleep-deprived meltdown at 3 in the morning. Chrisean Rock is not tired yet. Chrisean Rock is not overwhelmed yet. Chrisean Rock is fresh on camera, wearing the ring light, performing for an audience, and this is still exactly what it looks like. Now watch this. Rewind with me. I want to slow it down and I want us to look at it together. Watch the exact second Junior tries to pull away from Chrisean Rock's grip. Watch how her hand tightens around the side of his neck. Watch how her thumb genuinely digs, physically presses, into the soft skin at the corner of his face. I did not catch this the first time I watched. I had to rewatch this clip 3 separate times before I saw it in full. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. That is not a loving touch. That is a functional restraint. That is the grip of somebody who has decided that a child's discomfort is less important than a live stream's aesthetics, and that discomfort will be tolerated until the shot is right. And when she notices him crying harder, when she registers that his cries are cutting through the audio, does Chrisean Rock soften her hand? Does Chrisean Rock loosen? Does Chrisean Rock apologize to him? No. Chrisean Rock says, "Come here, let me just do the hair." Do the hair. That is the priority in that moment. The hair. Let's move to clip 2, and I want to warn you in advance. This one is worse. In this next clip, Chrisean Rock is going to look directly into her camera, directly at her audience, directly at every single one of us watching, and she is going to say, with her whole chest, with a straight face, with the confidence of a woman who assumes nobody is going to fact-check her, that Junior's feet are getting flatter, that he has braces now, that his club feet are steadily improving, and that everything with his physical condition is moving in a positive, hopeful medically, encouraging direction. Chrisean Rock is going to say all of that on camera. And then, seconds later, Chrisean Rock is going to accidentally notice that Junior's foot is visible in her frame, and she is going to reach down and physically try to hide it. Because Junior's foot is exactly the way it has always been. His right foot is turned inward at an angle no adult in this entire comment section could physically replicate. Try it right now. Sit up. Try to rotate your ankle so that your foot points parallel to your shin. You cannot. It is anatomically impossible for a healthy adult. And this is a nearly 3-year-old boy whose foot lives in that exact position because it has never been surgically corrected, never been braced consistently, and never, as far as any public evidence has ever shown, been evaluated by a pediatric orthopedic surgeon. And what does Chrisean Rock do the very second she realizes her own camera has just caught what she just lied about? Watch her hand. Watch her hand carefully. She reaches down and she physically covers his foot with her palm. She physically covers the evidence of her own lie. In real time. On Livestream. In front of the entire internet. That is not a slip. That is not a coincidence. That is not accidental framing. That is the muscle memory of somebody who has been lying about her son's medical condition for so long that her body reflexively hides the truth when a camera catches it. Caught. Absolutely caught. And in the very moment Chrisean Rock realizes she has been caught on her own broadcast, does she stop? Does she come clean? Does she pivot to honesty and say, actually, you guys, his feet are still clubbed and we are still working on getting him the surgery he needs? No. Chrisean Rock pivots. Chrisean Rock changes the subject. Chrisean Rock immediately starts telling Junior to stand up. Stand up, Papa. Please stand up. Please, baby. He cannot stand up. Chrisean Rock knows he cannot stand up. Everyone who has watched this saga for 2 years knows Junior cannot stand up. The only time Junior has ever appeared to stand upright on his own is when Chrisean Rock or one of her associates has physically propped him against furniture. The famous first birthday photo? Propped. The playpen clips? Braced against the padded edge of the playpen with his little legs spread wide because he cannot balance on his own. And still, after 2 years of this, Chrisean Rock stands over him, at nearly 3 years old, chirping, please stand up, like she does not know exactly why he cannot. She does know. She has always known. And the audience has always known. And this, right here, is the performative pantomime that has defined every single Junior update since the day this boy was born. Chrisean Rock will tell him to do a thing she knows he cannot do, so that when he does not do it, she can shrug at the camera as if it is cute. It is not cute. It has never been cute. It has never been anything close to cute. It is a nearly 3-year-old boy being publicly asked to perform milestones that his mother has failed over years to help him actually reach. And back to what I told you at the very top, this pattern is not new. This is not a bad day. This is not a stressed mom having one rough moment on stream. This is a 2.5-year, consistent, unbroken pattern of the exact same footage, the exact same excuses, the exact same milestone theater, and the exact same he is getting help line that never, not once, arrives with any actual verifiable documentation. In 2.5 years, Chrisean Rock has not produced a single verifiable piece of medical evidence that Junior is being treated. Not one. Not a scan. Not a doctor's name. Not a therapy schedule. Not a specialist letter. Not a surgical consult date. Nothing. Chrisean Rock will occasionally mention on stream that she has to ask Pastor Mike for permission to show his speech therapy, or that she will get behind the scenes of his pediatric appointments, and then, surprise, surprise, no behind the scenes ever appears. Ever. On and on with the same script. 2.5 years of the exact same script, running on loop, in front of an audience Chrisean Rock is banking will never notice the loop. Now let's talk about the clip that broke my heart tonight, because I need you emotionally prepared before we play it. Clip 3. This is the diarrhea clip. And before we play a single second of it, I need you to notice why Chrisean Rock filmed this footage in the first place. Because Chrisean Rock filmed it deliberately. Chrisean Rock chose to hit record. Chrisean Rock chose to post it. Chrisean Rock chose to narrate it in the giggly, quirky, look at my life voice she uses when she is fishing for engagement. There is a real theory floating around Twitter tonight, and honestly, I think it is correct, that Chrisean Rock uploaded this footage specifically to respond to comments that Junior cannot process food. She wanted to prove her son could produce a bowel movement. She wanted receipts. She wanted a comeback. And so she filmed her nearly 3-year-old boy, sick, distressed, disoriented, covered in his own waste, and she posted it to the internet as a rebuttal to online criticism. Let that sentence sink in for a full second. Chrisean Rock used her nearly 3-year-old son's medical distress as a comeback tweet. And here's the part that will make you feel it in your chest. In the hours leading up to that clip, Chrisean Rock had not fed Junior anything. Not a solid. Not a puree. Not a bite. Not a spoonful. Nothing. If you watched the earlier portion of that live stream, the part that took place before the diarrhea moment, Pastor Mario, the very same Pastor Chrisean Rock keeps parading in front of her camera to make herself look like a woman of God, was asking her, on camera, in front of the audience, whether she had fed her son yet that day. On camera. In front of everyone. And Chrisean Rock brushed the question off. She laughed. She changed the subject. She kept the stream running. Then, hours later, long after the sun had already gone down, long after any reasonable feeding window had closed for a toddler, Chrisean Rock reached for a baby bottle, pulled out a bottle of Nesquik chocolate syrup, and squeezed it in. Caught. Again. On camera. Again. Nesquik. In the bottle. Of a nearly 3-year-old. Who has not eaten all day. Who has known intestinal issues. Who has a documented, visible, publicly recorded hernia. Who is nonverbal. Who is developmentally delayed. Who cannot advocate for himself in any way. This is what Chrisean Rock decided constituted dinner for her son that night. A liquid, sugar-loaded chocolate syrup drink delivered in a baby bottle after 12 hours of nothing at all. And within the hour of that bottle, surprise, 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 Junior has diarrhea. Because of course he does. Because a child who has consumed liquid calories exclusively, formula, milk, Pediasure, and now Nesquik, is going to have chronic gastrointestinal distress, and any pediatric nutritionist in the country will confirm that in a sentence. That is not a mystery. That is not, I don't know what's going on with my baby. That is basic, first-year pediatric nutrition. Any pediatrician on this planet will tell you a nearly 3-year-old should be eating solid meals, real food, cut small, presented on a plate, not sipping sugar water out of a baby bottle in the dark. And Chrisean Rock's response, the response of the mother, the caregiver, the person who is legally, medically, and morally responsible for the well-being of this specific child in this specific moment, was to point her camera directly at his stained onesie and giggle. My baby, I do not know what is going on. She said that on the record. She said, I don't know what's going on. Chrisean Rock, let me tell you exactly what is going on. What is going on is that you starved him, you gave him a sugar-loaded bottle at 9 in the evening, and his body did the only thing it could physically do. What is going on is nutrition. What is going on is neglect. What is going on is the exact same pattern that has been going on since Junior drew his very first breath in the hospital. Chrisean Rock is not confused. Chrisean Rock is performing confusion for an audience she assumes is dumber than she is. And, honestly, that is the most insulting part of this whole cycle to me, the fact that Chrisean Rock genuinely believes her fan base is stupid enough to buy the phrase, I don't know what's going on. And unfortunately, tragically, a real piece of her fan base actually is. And I want to spend one more minute on the Nesquik moment, because I think the internet has, understandably, focused on the surface-level shock and skipped the layer underneath it. The layer underneath it is this. Chrisean Rock knew, in that exact moment, that squeezing Nesquik into a baby bottle was not something a competent mother of a nearly 3-year-old does. She knew. That is why she was sneaking. That is why the camera angle was low. That is why the bottle was tilted away from the lens. That is why, the second another adult walked into the frame, Chrisean Rock's whole body language shifted. Watch it in slow motion. Her shoulders rise. Her elbow tucks in. She physically hides the bottle. You do not hide behavior you believe is normal. You do not hide behavior you are proud of. You do not hide behavior you would defend on a witness stand. You hide behavior you know is wrong. And Chrisean Rock, in that split second, told on herself with her own body language. That is not commentary. That is behavioral evidence. And there is another detail from that same clip that almost nobody has zoomed in on yet. Watch the counter behind Chrisean Rock in the wide shot. There is no plate. There is no bowl. There is no cutting board. There is no evidence of any solid food preparation at all. In a household with a nearly 3-year-old, at any point in a normal day, you would expect to see toddler cups, section plates, sippy lids, banana peels, Cheerio boxes, snack pouches, the wreckage of a normal toddler meal cycle. There is none of that visible. Not in this stream. Not in the last stream. Not in the stream before that. Chrisean Rock's kitchen, on camera week after week, does not look like the kitchen of a mother who is feeding a toddler solids. It looks like the kitchen of a mother who is running an adult household with a child parked in it. And that is not a small detail. That is the tell. Because right now, as I record this video, the top voted comments underneath Chrisean Rock's clip are the exact same recycled defenses we have seen for 2 years running. They always say he can't eat, so how does he poop? Are you serious? Are you seriously typing that with your whole hand in the year we are in? Nobody in the critical audience has ever, once, said Junior cannot poop. What critics have said, repeatedly, patiently, with receipts, with free frames, with time-stamped clips, is that Junior has a visible, unresolved umbilical or inguinal hernia that has been documented in Chrisean Rock's own footage for well over a year. If you look at the free frame of Junior sitting on the couch in this very stream tonight, you can plainly see the bulge. It is right there, in the front of his diaper. It weighs down the fabric. That is not a phantom. That is not Photoshop. That is not a lighting trick. That is a hernia that any competent pediatrician would have referred for surgical evaluation 20 months ago. Chrisean Rock has not done it. Chrisean Rock is not going to do it. And the fanbase will keep typing, how does he poop then, as if that is a rebuttal to anything anybody is actually saying. Now I want to zoom in on Junior himself for a moment, because I do not want any of this to become abstract. I do not want him to become a talking point. I do not want him to become a hashtag. Junior is a real child. Junior has a first name. Junior has a smile, a beautiful, real, present smile that we see, occasionally, when the camera catches him at the right angle. Junior has real developmental capacity that we, as observers on the outside, cannot fully measure precisely because we have never once been shown Junior under the care of a real specialist. We have never been shown Junior in a physical therapy session. We have never been shown Junior in a feeding clinic. We have never been shown Junior in an audiologist's office. We have never been shown Junior being formally evaluated for the hernia by a surgical team. Every single frame of Junior's public existence has been mediated by Chrisean Rock's phone, edited by Chrisean Rock's timeline, filtered through Chrisean Rock's aesthetic choices, and framed by Chrisean Rock's engagement metrics. Junior deserves better than that. Junior deserves so much better than a mother who films his sickness for clout. He deserves a mother who films the paperwork. He deserves a mother who films the follow-up. He deserves a mother whose camera is off, more often than not, so that his life is not permanently mediated by an audience of strangers. And that is the sentence I want us to sit with for a second. Because that is the sentence Chrisean Rock's fans have never been able to answer honestly. Chrisean Rock filmed her nearly 3-year-old, medically fragile, nonverbal, developmentally delayed son, invisible, verifiable physical distress, covered in his own waste, and Chrisean Rock chose to post it. Chrisean Rock chose to caption it. Chrisean Rock chose to narrate it out loud, with a laugh on the record. Chrisean Rock chose to hit publish. That is a choice. That is not an accident. That is not a stressful moment. That is not a slip. That is a deliberate content decision made by a mother who has consistently, over years, prioritized engagement over the dignity, privacy, and long-term well-being of her own child. And every single person defending that choice in the comments today is complicit in the next one. And there will be a next one. And a next one after that. Chrisean Rock has told us, through her own uploads, that there will always be a next one. Watch this next frame. Chrisean Rock is holding Junior up to the camera, one hand under his armpit, one hand near his hip. And I want you to really look at his feet. Look at the angle. Look at his right foot in particular. Look at the way it bends inward, toward the midline of his body. Look at how his ankle is turned in a way that no healthy toddler's ankle should ever be turned. That is not a boot. That is not a corrective device. That is not the temporary look of a foot inside a brace. That is a documented, uncorrected clubfoot on a nearly 3-year-old boy, 3 weeks before his 3rd birthday. And Chrisean Rock, just moments earlier in that same live stream, told the audience his feet were getting flat and straight. Look at this frame and tell me his feet are getting flat. Tell me they are getting straight. Tell me anything you see in this specific image supports the specific sentence Chrisean Rock just spoke. It does not. And Chrisean Rock knows it does not. And Chrisean Rock is banking on the assumption that her audience will not rewind and check the tape. Well, we rewound. And we checked. Caught. Again. Caught. And this is the part where I need to be honest with all of you. I am tired. I have been covering Chrisean Rock and Junior updates for a long time now, and every single update lands with the same shape. The clothes change. The location changes. The pastor of the week changes. The co-host on the couch changes. The apartment behind her changes. But the pattern does not change. The child is still nonverbal. The feet are still clubbed. The hernia is still visible. The feeding is still liquid only. The live stream is still on. The laughter is still cruel. And Chrisean Rock, the woman at the center of all of it, Chrisean Rock is still standing there, phone in hand, ring light on, monetizing every second of it. How is she not exhausted? How is she not ashamed? How is she not, at the absolute minimum, tired of the performance? 2.5 years of the exact same milestone theater, and the audience she is performing for is watching her son grow older and less, well, every single week. She has to see it. She has to know. Because the internet sees it, and the internet is not the one raising him. I want to say something to the fans one more time, and I want to say it slowly and clearly. If you believe Chrisean Rock is doing her best, then Chrisean Rock's best is not good enough for this specific child. Full stop. Period. That is not a shot at Chrisean Rock. That is a statement of clinical fact about what this specific child, with these specific medical needs, requires from a caregiver. Junior does not need his mother's best if her best cannot get him to a pediatric orthopedist. Junior does not need her best if her best is a Nesquik bottle at 9 at night after a full day of no meals. Junior does not need her best if her best is live streaming his diarrhea to score points in a comment section. What Junior needs is intervention. What Junior needs is specialists. What Junior needs is a full care team. What Junior needs is somebody, anybody, in Chrisean Rock's orbit, a grandmother, an aunt, an uncle, a cousin, a court-appointed advocate, a pastor with an actual spine, to look Chrisean Rock in the face and say, out loud, hand him over. You have had your chance. It is somebody else's turn now. And I know that is a heavy sentence. I know it is a sentence people will argue with. I know somebody in the comments is already typing, you don't know their life. You are correct. I don't know their life from the inside. What I do know is their footage. Their footage, the footage Chrisean Rock filmed herself, edited herself, posted herself, and archived on her own accounts, is more than enough. In any other custody dispute in America, the exact clips Chrisean Rock has voluntarily uploaded to the public internet would be Exhibit A, Exhibit B, Exhibit C, and Exhibit D. That is not a hot take. That is a plain reading of the evidence Chrisean Rock has personally, publicly, voluntarily provided to the world. She has, in effect, built the case against herself over the course of 2.5 years, one live stream at a time. Now, because I know somebody is going to ask, let's talk briefly about Blueface. Because Blueface is Junior's father. Blueface is currently incarcerated. Blueface has, from prison, publicly expressed concern about Junior's condition. And whatever you think about Blueface as a person, as an artist, as a partner, as a father, as a public figure, Blueface has a legal and moral standing here that the timeline keeps ignoring. The child has 2 parents. One of them is on live stream at 9 at night squeezing Nesquik chocolate syrup into a baby bottle. The other one is behind bars watching it happen through commissary tablet clips. That is a jurisdictional nightmare, and it is a jurisdictional nightmare that has real, actionable, documented pathways in the family court systems of the states where this family has lived, and those pathways have not been fully pursued. That is a fact. That is documented in the public record. Show me some love in the comments and tell me, genuinely, honestly tell me, what a healthy resolution to this Chrisean Rock and Junior saga even looks like at this point. Because I've been thinking about this all week, and I cannot land on one. There is no version of the next 6 months in which Chrisean Rock, on her own, unassisted, without external intervention, produces the developmental turnaround Junior needs. That window has closed. That window closed a year ago. That window closed the day the third-year-old milestone chart stopped being aspirational and started being a benchmark. What Junior needs now is not Chrisean Rock trying harder in the same direction she has been trying in. What Junior needs now is a team. A pediatric orthopedic surgeon. A speech-language pathologist. A pediatric feeding specialist. A developmental pediatrician. A licensed physical therapist. A social worker who is actually paying attention. And Chrisean Rock is not building that team. Chrisean Rock is building a content schedule. Those are two different, mutually exclusive projects, and one of them is actively destroying the other every time the ring light comes on. And so tonight, with the Nesquik still fresh on the screen, with the diarrhea still fresh on the screen, with the clubfoot still fresh on the screen, with Chrisean Rock's laugh still ringing inside my head, I am finally going to say the sentence I have been swallowing on this channel for 2 years. Somebody. Come. Get. This. Baby. Somebody in this family. Somebody in this church. Somebody in this county. Somebody in this state. Somebody with the legal authority and the moral courage to move. Come get this baby. Come get him before his 3rd birthday makes national news for the wrong reason. Come get him while there is still developmental runway left to make up. Come get him before Chrisean Rock films the next clip, and the next clip after that, and the next clip after that. Because Chrisean Rock is not going to stop on her own. Chrisean Rock has demonstrated, over and over and over again, on camera, in her own footage, in her own words, in her own edits, that she does not have the pause button. Somebody else is going to have to press it for her. And to Chrisean Rock personally, because I know she scrolls through these comment sections, I know somebody in her orbit sends her the clips, I know she sees this eventually. Chrisean Rock, if you are watching, I want you to hear me clearly. Nobody sane on this internet wants you to fail. Nobody sane wants you to lose your son. Nobody sane is enjoying this. What we want is for you to put the phone down and pick up a phone book. Call a pediatrician. Call a real one. Not a pastor. Not a live stream co-host. Not a life coach. A doctor. Book an appointment. Show up on time. Bring receipts. Post the receipts. Show the audience the paperwork. Show us the therapy schedule. Show us the surgical consult date. Show us the specialist referral. Show us the follow-up appointment card. Show us anything, Chrisean Rock, anything at all, that proves you are doing the actual work instead of the performance of the work. Because right now, Chrisean Rock, the performance is all we have. And the performance is not saving your son. It never has been. It never will be. And to the fan base, because I know a chunk of you are already in the drafts, ready to defend her again, ready to type, leave her alone one more time, I want to ask you a single question, and I want you to sit with your honest answer. If Junior were not Chrisean Rock's son, if Junior were a random toddler in your family, if Junior were your nephew, your grandson, your neighbor's little boy across the hall, and you watched a woman film him having diarrhea on live stream laughing after she starved him all day and gave him a Nesquik bottle at 9 at night, what would you do? Would you defend her? Would you tell the internet to leave her alone? Or would you pick up the phone? Would you make a call? Would you knock on a door? Because the only difference between that hypothetical and this reality is that Chrisean Rock has a fan base, and hypothetical nephews do not. The child in the frame does not know he has a fan base. The child in the frame only knows what is happening to him. And what is happening to him is not okay. That is the video. That is where I have to land it. I know it is heavy. I know it is uncomfortable. I know some of you are going to log off angry. I know some of you are going to disagree with me openly. I know some of you are going to defend Chrisean Rock one more time in the comment section under this exact upload. That is your right, and I respect it. But if you have been watching this saga as long as I have, and you still, After everything you saw tonight, sincerely believe Chrisean Rock is fit to raise this specific child with these specific medical needs on the trajectory she is currently on. I need you to sit with that. Not argue with me. Sit with it. Turn the video off for a minute and think about the last frame we looked at together, the frame with Junior's foot turned inward and his mother's palm covering it up, and ask yourself, honestly, in the quiet part of your mind, what you would want somebody to do if that were your nephew, your grandson, your godchild, your neighbor's kid. Drop your take in the comments. The good, the bad, the furious, the heartbroken, the wildly disagreeing. Tell me what you saw in the clips that I missed. Tell me what you think happens next. Tell me if I was too soft on her tonight. Tell me if I was too hard. Tell me if you have ever, in your entire life, watched a Chrisean Rock stream you actually felt good about walking away from. Tell me if you know somebody in Chrisean Rock's family who is quietly trying to help. Tell me if you have insight into the medical side of this that I have not covered yet. Tell me anything. Tell me everything. Because the more voices we have on this record, the harder it becomes for anybody in Chrisean Rock's orbit to keep pretending the tape does not exist. If this video hit you the way it hit me, hit the like button, share it with somebody who has been asleep on this story, subscribe to the channel if you are new here, and pass it around, because the more eyes we can get on the footage Chrisean Rock herself posted, the harder it becomes for the people around her to keep pretending they do not see it. And I will be right back here on this channel the very next time Chrisean Rock live streams the unpostable. Because she will. She always does. Until then, take care of yourselves, take care of the kids in your life, hug the small people in your world a little tighter tonight, and I will see you all on the next one.